Whoa! I'm making this up as we go, so good morning! I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm here with Levi. Did you see him? Hi, Levi! Yay! Okay, we're gonna talk about depression glass versus uranium glass today, and this is something that we're not going to call ourselves experts on, but at the same time it is something that we've been interested in over the last little year or so.
Yeah, a year.
About a year.
6 months, yeah.
And we thought we'd bring it to your attention in case you guys might be interested in it too. Let's start with depression glass. So basically everybody knows that their grandma's cabinets tend to have like the green glass stuff in them. I mean, like, oh, hey, grandma's got these weird green glasses in her cabinet. Have you guys seen these before? Chances are, if you spend time with somebody who's either elderly or a parent figure from back in the day, they had these laying around. So what is depression glass?
Depression glass is a cheap glass that was made. It's usually associated with the Great Depression in the 1920s in America. It's primarily in America and Canada. It's glass that was made with either a green color or a pink color, amber, yellow, and it's usually most people call it depression glass because it's associated with. It was so cheap. Sometimes it was free. They added it to, like, food companies would add it to boxes, so people would buy their product more, almost like a toy car in a box of cereal. Depression glass was primarily produced between 1920 and 1939. It was very cheaply made. It was very inexpensive to purchase, but about 1960, depression glass became a collectible item, and it started to disappear off the open market.
And then some of this stuff is still around today. I mean, you go down to like a thrift store or something like that, antique stores definitely have them. And like I said, grandma's pantry, they're probably laying around still. There's a lot of this stuff that's still around, and you can see it, you'll recognize it, right? And they come in like a variety of different pieces. You can, just look like this. So if you clicked on this video, you're probably already vaguely familiar with the idea. You know it, you've seen it, right? Now let's get into uranium glass.
Uranium glass almost looks identical to depression glass. To the naked eye, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. So what you need is a UV light that shines purple or a black light. The reason it's uranium glass is it is radioactive. It is highly recommended that you do not use metal utensils on them, because if you take pieces of the glass come off in your food, you ingest them, you will have radiation poisoning. So they used uranium, selenium, radium, all these different radioactive materials starting in like the 1830s to color the glass. So uranium specifically colored it green. Selenium colored it like a red-orange. Cadmium was a dark red, and so on. So they did this to make it more approachable for people to buy it, instead of just a clear glass that you could buy from any store today. So if you don't know, because I just said it, uranium is radioactive. So uranium is this material that was part of the Chernobyl nuclear explosion in the 80s. So it is very deadly stuff. If you have a Geiger counter, which are usually pretty expensive, but if you can get your hands on one and you shine it near or scan a uranium piece with it, you will be able to see that it's radioactive. So they started using radioactive elements to color glass around 1830. And they used it all the way up until about 1940. About that time, the Cold War was kind of starting to get in motion, and the governments realized that you could use uranium and all these radioactive elements. So they started scooping them all up. So a lot of the companies that made it, which there weren't a ton that used radioactive materials, but they stopped using it because it was in such low supply by about 1950.
Now, I'm sure what you're thinking at this point is like, oh no, all this uranium inside the glass at my grandma's house, is she in danger? Is she?
No. Let me rephrase. It is recommended that you don't eat out of cups, plates, and certainly don't use metal to like scoop out ice cream out of a uranium dish, so that those metal shards or the glass shards, even as minuscule as they could give you radiation poisoning. Some items are way more radioactive than others. If you put them like behind even a single pane of glass, your radiation drops down to virtually nothing. So as long as you are not ingesting it, you're pretty much okay.
Actually, that was a good informative answer, because a lot of people will tell you that it's not dangerous at all. But of course, you're thinking radioactive uranium. Sounds like it could be risky. But okay, hey, let's not break it and let's keep it behind glass.
So if you're looking for uranium glass in the wild, which would be an antique store or a thrift store or wherever, a lot of the times it's labeled as something called Vaseline glass. So a lot of the times Vaseline glass is a yellow or a light green color, and it kind of looks like it was a piece that was made out of Vaseline. It's not completely clear, it's kind of milky.
So the idea is that it comes from more looking like Vaseline. It's not actually made out of Vaseline.
Correct. It's just the way they make it. It kind of changes the consistency of the glass, so it's not completely clear. More like Vaseline jelly that you get at any store.
Cool. Okay, now I want to see some of this stuff. As we're looking at it, this is something that may be new to you, or maybe you've been interested in it before and you just want to see what kind of things we've been collecting. But I found out about this stuff about a year ago and I thought it was fantastic, and now of course I'm always on the hunt for it. It's a great item to hunt for, you know, just shining your light around on all the depression glass areas in the thrift shop or something and trying to find this stuff. And you'll see other people doing it too. Once you get into it, you'll be like, I know what he's looking for. So, all right, let's have a look at some of our pieces and talk about them. Okay. So we've hand-selected a handful of pieces. Hand-selected handful of pieces? Okay, just to talk about, and then we'll show you a pretty impressive collection that we'll talk about in a second here. But basically, like we said, you need the UV light or the black light to easily identify this stuff. If you were to take a regular flashlight and shine it on, it's like shining a flashlight on some stuff here. Which is about what would happen if you were to shine your light on your regular depression glass too. Yep. Is it's not going to have that uranium glow, but the uranium glass is going to glow impressively. So when you take out your little UV light, you get a much different reaction when you do this stuff. Which of course is what we were just talking about.
Right. The way we got into finding uranium glass was this piece right here. We found this at like one of those big community garage sales, and Lindy's mom actually has a collection of this glass, and it's called Princess Pattern. So we saw this. She does not have one like this, so we purchased it to give it to her as a gift, and then we stuck it in our cabinet and forgot about it for over a year. And then we saw a Facebook page about glass that glows, and it happened to be about uranium glass. We were like, man, I wonder if that piece we have it's been sitting in the back of our pantry for a year actually glows, and sure enough it did, and we've been hooked ever since. I would have just walked by this in a normal store. I mean, it's an owl and it's glass and it's cool, but I wouldn't have thought twice of it being uranium glass, because it doesn't have that signature green color to it like everything else we're showing you today. But once you do shine your light on it, it does shine that really nice green color. And this one you can actually see like the swirls of the glass inside of it, which makes it one of our most favorited pieces.
what would be an impressive thing to do with these things? I mean, you can't stand around with a flashlight all day, but what can we do with it? Levi's got a different idea that he's implemented in his house, and let's check out what he's got.
So we ended up getting quite a few pieces in the wild, and we were trying to figure out a way to display it so that everybody that came into our house could look at it. We could look at it without having to turn a flashlight on every single time. So we ended up getting this display cabinet, switched out the regular light bulb for a blacklight UV bulb, and it's pretty awesome. If you're looking for a cool conversation piece for your home, this is a really inexpensive way to do that. I mean, unless you're looking for the super rare collectible, you want that piece that's going to be, you know, $500, $600, $700. This is a pretty inexpensive way to have a hobby.
And we don't want the conversation, we just want to see how cool it is, so show us your case.
Now this is where the magic happens.
For today. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
We want to see your guys' uranium glass collections. So if you have any pictures of them, post them to our Facebook page. There's a link down below.
And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and we will see you next time.